hopefully the way I've got my phone set up to record works better, because I got it sitting kind of precariously on my laptop. Two quick things. If you hear snoring, my husband is behind me. He's sick and he's asleep, and I'm not going to bother him. The other thing is, this is my, by the way, what video is this? This is my February 2018 reading wrap-up. In January, I said I was going to make two changes. One, that my wrap-ups would be spoilery, which I am keeping that, and the other one that I've been reading my daughter a ton of books. She absolutely loves to be read to. So those books would be included, and I was just going to tell you the names and authors. That seemed to turn out kind of monotonous, so I'm not doing that anymore. The only books of hers that I'm going to mention, even though I did technically read them, the only ones I'm going to mention is ones I have something to say about. And a lot of times those will have a book talk on them as well. So, if there's any book talks on any of the books I read, I'll let you know about that, because that's more interesting than me repeating myself. So, I'm going to pop into this. First book I read, I've got Goodreads on my laptop behind my phone. First book I read in February was As Nature Made Him, The Boy Who Was Raised as a Girl by John Colapinto. I'm dyscalculic, not dyslexic, but I still get Colapinto instead of Colapinto from that. I don't know why. Some names just get me. So this is a nonfiction about this boy. He's an identical twin, and when him and his brother were like 18 months or a few months old or something like that, their mom took them to get circumcised, and his was first, and they messed it up and basically burned it all off. And they ended up not doing his brother's. And the issue they were having resolved with his brother later. So, his mom and dad were taking him to all these different doctors and stuff, and they found this one that, in my opinion, is kind of quack and overvalues his own opinion. And he said, "Oh, well, gender's just a social construct. Just raise him as a girl and never know the difference." Well, it didn't work that way. And he's back to like being a guy the way he was born, everything. He switched back when he was like 17 or something. And it was really interesting to read. It wasn't badly written. It was written well, but it wasn't like the most well-written thing ever. But I did really enjoy reading it. It was definitely like a learning experience and stuff. And if it sounds remotely interesting to you, I would recommend it. Okay, now I have a whole bunch of her books. I read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the original screenplay by J.K. Rowling. I wasn't sure if I should read this since I haven't finished the Harry Potter series. Yeah, I know. I've read the first 3 books. I'll get there. It's on the list. It's not that I don't like it or anything. I haven't finished it yet. There's a bunch of popular series I haven't finished yet. Anyway, I wasn't sure if I should read this since I hadn't read the original Harry Potter series completely yet. But I'd seen the first little bit of the movie with my daughter, my older daughter, who is a complete Harry Potter nut. And so I figured, well, I'll go ahead and read it because I know it's a screenplay and it's basically the same thing as the movie. Well, no, basically about it. It is. It's just in print format. And I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't because it's a screenplay, but I've been a theater major and minor for a while. I'm not in school right now, but I'm used to reading plays. I'm also a Shakespeare nerd, and if you can read a Shakespeare play with like no stage directions hardly, you can read anything play-wise. So, it being a screenplay didn't bother me, and I really enjoyed it, and I watched the movie afterwards, and I really enjoyed that as well. I think pretty much everybody knows what it's about, but it's like a prequel to Harry Potter. It happens way before Harry Potter. This guy named Newt Scamander has all these magical creatures, and I loved all the adventures and everything. The only thing was the ending made me really sad. I wanted the Muggle dude to end up with the wizard chick. I wanted them to run off to England and get married, but that didn't happen. And I'm hoping the way it ended, I hope there will be another movie or book after that where like he remembers everything and then they run off to England and get married and live happy ever after, but that's me. So I did really enjoy that. Let's see, a whole bunch more Rivers books. Did we just read that? Okay. We didn't do a book talk on this, but maybe we should. Duck and Hippo Lost and Found. It's book 2 in the Duck and Hippo series by Jonathan London. We gave it 5 stars. My kid is like 4 months old, and she loves this book. She loves this book so much that I spent $13 on a picture book on Amazon for her today. A picture book. I don't spend $13 on a book for me. That's how much my kid loves this book. It's this series of books that just came out last year about this duck and this hippo and their best friends. And in this one, them and their other friends go to have a picnic. And it's the end of summer picnic, and Hippo wants to find some berries, and he's going through the woods, and it gets dark, and his friends go out to find him, and they can't find him, and he ends up finding just enough berries for everybody to have a single berry, and they're the last berries of summer, and then they go eat their picnic, and they're so happy because they have pizza, and I'm sitting there thinking the pizza is probably cold by now. It's been like 6 hours. But whatever, the art's really good. She really enjoys it. I don't know if it's on here or not, but the first book she really enjoys too. There's another one coming out in August. I ordered the first 2 books for her today. Fortunately, the first one I found used for like $5, but they didn't have a copy of the second one used. And I pre-ordered the third one. They're some of her favorite books, and we've had them out from the library since, well, we read this one in February, so we've had this one out from the library for over a month. But she absolutely loves them. If you've got a little kid that likes picture books, definitely recommend that series. Okay, then I read Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. This is my second Colleen Hoover book, and I absolutely love this one. This was another one I couldn't put down. This is about this girl, and she has this kind of weird family, kind of mixed up family, and they have a ton of secrets, and she finally, is done with all of it, spills everybody's secrets, takes a whole bunch of her mother's pain pills, basically tries to kill herself. Immediately after she does it, she regrets it, and, she wakes somebody up, and they, gag her, and she had a bunch of alcohol beforehand, too, so she was, really tipsy and everything. And they gagged her, and she puked them up and everything. And then she finds out her mother's pain pills are placebos, and she has to find out why that is. And it was really good. So since that's the second Colleen Hoover book I've read, and I know everybody raves about her, and I loved both of these books, I went ahead and got Hopeless out, but I'm having a hard time getting into it, so we'll see how that goes. The next book I read was Sold by Patricia McCormick. This is about a little girl who's 12 or 13, and she thinks her stepdad has gotten her a job as a maid in the city, and she's all excited because she can make money to send home to her family. And it ends up he sold her into sex slavery. And by the end of the book, she's gotten out of it. She's from Nepal, and they end up getting her all the way down to India, so she can't find her way home. And she's gotten out of it, and it's based on stuff that actually happens, but this specific girl in this specific story didn't happen, kind of thing. But it was really good. It was done in short little diary entry snippets, so it was really easy to read through quickly. I really enjoyed it. I'm umming and ahhing a lot, sorry. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one too. Let's see, a bunch more stuff of Rivers. I read her a lot of books. Gotta make sure I don't get in the march here. Okay. Bonaparte Falls Apart by Marjorie Kueller, I think is how you pronounce her last name. We gave that one 4 stars. And we are going to do a book talk on that. I mean her and me doing all the talking, her sitting there and looking cute, as she does. But we haven't done it yet, so that will be up eventually. I really liked this book. It was really cute. It could be considered Halloweeny because it had, like, a skeleton and a Frankenstein's monster and that sort of thing. But it doesn't have to be Halloweeny. And it's about this kid, and he's a skeleton, and he's so worried about going to school in the fall because he has what amounts to a disability. His bones keep falling off, and he has to pick them up, and he's worried about going to school. And his friends try all these different things to help him and everything, and it ends up that he gets basically a service dog that he teaches to pick up his bones and bring them back. And it's so cool, and it's such a fun and unique way to teach kids about service dogs and how cool they are, and that it's no big deal if you have one and all that. So I'm probably going to repeat all that whenever I do the book talk, but I definitely recommend this book. It was wonderful. It was well done, good art, and I love the concept with the service dog in it. So, and she enjoyed reading it too. The next book we read is another one of hers that I wanted to talk about. That's Tadpole's Promise by Jean Willis. We gave it 1 star because you can't give it 0. This is one of those ones. There is a book talk on this. So I'll try not to go too in depth because I'm already 11 minutes. But this is one of those ones that you read it and it's going along fine, and you get to the end and you're like, seriously? You wrote this for kids? If my kid was a toddler, she'd be crying right now. It was horrible. It was horrible. Go watch my book talk if you want to know. It's not that long. And my cute little 4-month-old, 3-month-old is in it. So, yeah, it was horrible. I do not recommend that. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Then I read Unmentionable, The Victorian Lady's Guide to Sex, Marriage, and Manners by Therese O'Neill. This was really interesting. It's not actually all about sex. It's about, like, health and bathrooms and manners and just all sorts of stuff about, okay, you time travel to the Victorian era, this is the stuff you didn't expect to have to deal with. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from about a period that I thought I knew a fair bit about this subjects, but I learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. Would definitely recommend that. Then it's just a coincidence that I read these right one after the other, but then I read Victoria Mayblossom of Britannia, England, 1829. This is one of the Royal Diary series. They're middle grade. I loved the series as a kid, but I never quite finished it. There was a couple books I didn't finish, so I'm going through those now. This one is by Anna Kerwin. I really like this. I enjoy this entire series, and it was cool to learn more about Victoria, because I know some about her, but not a whole lot. So, I enjoyed that. Okay, let's see, a whole bunch more that River read. Okay, then I read this one called But Don't All Religions Lead to God? Navigating the Multi-Faith Maze by Michael Green. This was okay. It's basically talking about that, and it's from a Christian point of view. It's interesting. Sorry, allergies. Excuse me. Sorry. It was interesting, but it wasn't, like, amazing or anything. It was just a short little thing, so it was no big deal to read. That's pretty much all I had to say about it. River. I read, okay, I've started on Agatha Christie's, and I read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which is, according to Goodreads, her most popular book. I absolutely love this. I like Agatha Christie anyway. I'm not sure if I've ever read any of her books. If I have, it's been ages. I absolutely love this. It was wonderful. I didn't guess who did it. I couldn't figure it out at the end. It was so good. And then they eventually tell you at the end who did it and how. And it was like, oh, that's so cool. That's so smart. I didn't figure it out. And for me, that's a big deal because I love mystery books. I've been reading them since I was a kid. And for me not to figure it out is a really big deal. especially for something as well known as that. Like, I knew the basic plot going into it, but I love reading it. I love the writing. I loved everything about it. So I continued on with her books after that, and the next one I read was the first Hercule Poirot book, which, as I understand, is her first book. And if it's on here, I'll talk more about it, but I still enjoyed it, but not as much as this one. This one was amazing. I love this. Next I read Lies We Believe About God by William Paul Young, who is the same author of The Shack, which is one of my favorite books. This was a really good book. I don't necessarily agree with everything in it, but it was really interesting to read. It was one of those things that, whether you agree with it or not, it's really good to read and, like, get your brain working, you know? So I enjoyed that. The reason why there's all these, like, religion type books is because I'm doing a lot of research. Let me just grab a random book sitting next to me. I'm doing a lot of research on Episcopalians, or the Episcopalian denomination, or whatever, because that's the kind of church we're going to right now. So I've got a whole bunch of books out, and I'm doing a whole bunch of research on it to learn more about it, because I was raised Baptist, so I don't know much about it. I'm learning about doctrine and everything. So that's why all the religion books, and of course I went to that section. I found a couple other not related to what I'm researching books that sound interesting that I read. So that's that. You'll see more Episcopalian stuff and religious stuff. Okay. Yeah, there's another one. And the next one I read was Unabashedly Episcopalian, Proclaiming the Good News of the Episcopal Church by Andrew Doyle. I liked it. It was good, but, it wasn't really, it didn't really fulfill the parameters of my research, is the best way I can put it. It was interesting. I enjoyed reading it. I learned stuff, but it didn't really help with the parts of Episcopalianism, I think that's a word, that I was researching. Bunch of stuff of Rivers. Okay, I read The Identicals by Erin Hildebrand. I've heard a lot of people like her stuff, but I was never really interested in it because it's all like on Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard and all that. But my library does a book club every month, and I decided I was going to try to be social and start doing it. And this is their book for March. So I read it in a day. I flew through it. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's about these two twins, and when they were 17, their parents divorced, and they each went with a parent. And they got to pick. They both wanted to go with their dad, but they did rock, paper, scissors to see who got to go with their dad and who was stuck with their mom. So now they're like 30-something, and they don't talk, and the dad just died, so they have to talk because of the funeral. And then the mom breaks her hip, so then the other sister is staying with the one who's lives with their mom's daughter, and it just starts spilling out about why they don't talk, and then they start having a relationship again by the end of the book, and it's great. It's just kind of like a fluffy book, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. I don't know if I'd pick up any of her other books because I'm not really into the whole East Coast Nantucket Martha's Vineyard thing. It's just not my thing. But I did really like these characters and I enjoyed it. One of the things I thought was funny was the daughter of the one twin didn't know what rock, paper, scissors was. And I'm like, this book just came out last year, 2017. Do kids not know what rock, paper, scissors is? I mean, there was an entire picture book that River and I read about it that also came out last year, but rock, paper, scissors, I mean, everybody knows what that is, right? Anyway, I enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to talking about it at the book club. And that is everything I read in March, and the few things, no, not March, February, and the few things of Rivers that I wanted to talk about. And I already got a couple books in March to talk about, so sorry this is kind of long. I did cut it down. It probably would have been an hour if I included all her books. But I hope you guys like this style. Let me know what your opinions are about me not talking about her books unless I have something to say about them. Do you like that? Do you want me to just do book talks on her books and not talk about them at all? yeah, I really enjoy doing wrap-ups, so y'all kind of stuck with those. But if you want me to do book talks more, right now I'm just doing them about books that I really have something to say about, whether I loved it or hated it. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.